Okay, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are here to talk about the 2022 Mercedes EQS. Now, this is a vehicle I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time now, but this week it's going to be raining. I was supposed to review an S2000, so that kind of fell through. And my LS460 project car, well, it's being worked on, so I hope to give you guys a update on that soon and maybe film that air suspension conversion for you guys. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this EQS already, because the 2014 to 2020 Mercedes S-Class, I have deemed that to be pretty much the best flagship luxury car that I have ever driven in my life. It's one of the few cars for me, and I've been on the search for a vehicle that's actually worth its price tag, and I have deemed that the S-Class, even at six figures, at over $100,000, that vehicle is worth it. Even if you buy it brand new and it depreciates down to like $30,000-$40,000, it's still worth it. It is that good. As of right now, the S-Class, with its swagger, with everything that's going on for it, it is pretty much the best thing I've ever experienced. When they talk about the best or nothing, they are exclusively talking about that S-Class. So here's the thing though, with, well, pretty much all the German cars, they're all disposable basically. They are leased cars. You throw them away after 3 years. I know I said that even if you bought it and you kept it for a long time, that's worth it. That's great and all, but you're still better off upgrading every 3 years and just leasing it out and just throwing it away. And the EQS is going to be no different. In fact, all the EVs are going to be like this. You do not want to be stuck with any one of these EV cars for longer than you have to, because they're going to depreciate even harder than its gasoline counterparts, because EV technology is just increasing and improving at a rapid rate that the previous EV cars are just going to be deemed worthless. I have been waiting for proper EV cars like this to come out. I'm also very excited for the Lexus kind of crossover thing that they unveiled, but still seems to be in its concept stages. So right now, this seems to be the most legitimate option. But here's the thing, though, I don't think this is going to be cheap. Car and Driver estimates that this EQS is going to start at around $96,000. And the EQS 580 4MATIC will be around $116,000. I think it might even be more than that, because this car is built from the ground up to be a bespoke vehicle. It's actually got nothing, it's got very little to do with the current 2021 S-Class that got unveiled. So it's a bespoke vehicle that they built from the ground up. Many of these European cars, they have no soul, they have no character anyway, so I'm actually all for European companies going all EV, to be honest with you. I've driven many of these twin turbo V8 models and they hardly make any noise. You hardly even feel it working. When you floor it, you don't even get a real sensation of speed. It just keeps doing triple digit speeds. You don't even notice any of it. So EV is actually perfect to match the lack of character in a lot of these European cars. Some of the highlights for me with this EQS is in fact the range. 770 kilometers, or about 478 miles of range. I believe the new Model S that they kind of updated will do around the same range, but I am so tired of Tesla. I am so over that. They have just been making all these kind of subcompact car quality vehicles for some time now, and now you actually have some proper vehicles to choose from, like the Taycan, like the Audi E-Tron, which is just a rebadged Taycan anyway. But those are all tiny little cars, very small vehicles, and very expensive. This, even though it's a lot of money, it's actually a proper full-size vehicle, okay, 205 inches long. So proper flagship. You can actually haul a lot of things in this car, but again, it's not cheap. Again, that's the one thing about this. You know, lease prices on this thing, it's probably going to be like close to $2,000 a month, and that's just not cool to me. But hey, it's just the price you got to pay for something like this. They will come out with like EQCs and all these other little vehicles, but they just won't have the quality of this S-Class, and that's just the unfortunate thing. But yeah, proper 205-inch long vehicle. It looks a little funny, but the one good thing is the trunk is actually a hatchback, similar to the Model S, so you can fit plenty of things back there, and you can even fold down the rear seats, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, the looks of this vehicle, it's very untraditional. It kind of looks like a little pod, basically, like you might see in some of these science fiction movies, but it still looks a little funny. But to be honest, I actually don't really care mine because EVs are very untraditional cars anyway. So to be honest, I don't really care what this thing looks like. Just get it in black and move about your day. But please do let me know your thoughts about the way that this vehicle looks. It's got a choice of 7 wheel options ranging from 19 inches to 21 inches. So there you go. I'll probably just stick with the 20s, you know, nice little mid-range option, right? And of course, the biggest thing that most people want to know about with these cars is the interior. So even the interior is actually different from the current S-Class just by a little bit. But the main highlight, of course, is the hyper screen, which you get standard, I believe, with the 580 4MATIC models. And it's an option on the 450 model. So the hyper screen is a big old curved one-piece screen. It's an OLED screen that stretches from one A-pillar to the other, and it kind of just seamlessly integrates everything from like a big old center screen to the passenger screen, of course the gauge cluster screen. It's all kind of just integrated as one. And this is just what people want nowadays. Now, I believe you got the 450 model, you would have gotten like a regular 12.8 inch screen in the middle, which would have been fine. But the thing with the 450 model is it only comes in rear wheel drive, at least as of right now. So right now you're kind of forced into getting the 580 model, whether you like it or not, if you want to get the 4MATIC. So that's just the unfortunate thing. I'll quickly mention the power figures for it. We got 329 horsepower and 406 pounds-feet of torque for the 450 model. And for the 580 4MATIC, we're talking 516 horsepower and 611 pounds-feet of torque. And 0 to 60 for these models is 5.5 seconds for the 450 and 4.1 seconds for the 580 model. There is talk that there's going to be a AMG variant, an AMG 73, they might call it, with like 760 horsepower. I could honestly care less about that. Really, the 450 would have been just fine as long as it came in all-wheel drive, but it doesn't, so there you go. So you got this hyper screen set up, and there's going to be obviously ambient lighting everywhere on the seats, everything, right? This is just what people want. So it's a very, you know, that's what I'm saying. These things are not going to age well, right? It's just a here and now type of car. And when the new one comes out, this is just going to be a disposable vehicle. So enjoy it for right now, lease it, and enjoy your little lights, enjoy your ridiculous screens. I'm not one to go crazy for the screens. I really don't like this trend because I just don't think it's good for your eyes, or maybe they debunked this, but I just don't like having screens everywhere. This is going to be a very distracting car. They say that they're going to do things like turn screens off and all this stuff, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, everything is going to be integrated into a touchscreen or into a AI voice control thing, basically. So it's a very untraditional car. There's not going to be any knobs or buttons or anything like that. You're going to have to talk to the car, basically. That's really going to be the most pragmatic way of interacting with the thing. So I don't know. We'll just have to use it. As of right now, when I tried out the infotainment and current Mercedes products, I mean, there's a lot of technology. Me, I'm the type of person, I'm just going to ignore all of that, and I'm just going to drive around in it, basically. There's just so many toys and gadgets. I mean, bro, it's just a car that gets you from point A to point B. A lot of this is really extra, but this is just what people want in the flagship product, so you're going to have to deal with it. Rear wheel steering is going to come with the vehicle, but you have two options for it: either 4.5 degrees of rear wheel steer or up to 10 degrees of rear wheel steer. So that's actually a lot. The current 2021 S-Class has the ability to go maximum of 4.5 degrees of rear wheel steering. So 10 degrees, it's really going to make this a very easy to drive car in city traffic, so that's good, I suppose. Another one of the cool features that this car is going to have is automatic doors. So you kind of slide them open automatically, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, it's a nice little luxurious feature. I think like the new Rolls Royces have that. So this new S-Class is going to have it. Again, see, that's the thing with the S-Class, you get so much where it's just like paying $500,000 for like these Bentleys and Rollses. I'm sure they're amazing cars, but there's like a level of diminishing returns. Like, I don't think it's going to be 5 times as good as this S-Class. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, if it's going to be anything like the current S-Classes that I've tried out, you know, it's going to have air suspension, all these things, but as long as they keep that ride and that just a magic feeling that the S-Class has always had, where it just kind of wafts around and it's just a silent cabin space, this should be pretty epic. And this is an EV with proper range now, you know, over 400 miles of range, like almost 500 miles of range. That's brilliant. So that's a great thing. And You have an option of getting like acoustic glass all throughout the vehicle, so it should be like a real tranquil, quiet cabin space. You got the perfume that sprays out cologne in front of your face. You got all that stuff going on. The automatic doors is an option, of course. All the safety crap comes as standard, as you would expect in a vehicle like this. You also get the amazing Burmester 3D audio system as standard, but there doesn't seem to be the 4D audio system. At least I didn't read about it. The new 2021 S-Classes do come with a 4D updated Burmester. I don't know if this is going to come with that. It doesn't even seem to be optional with this car, but either way, the 3D system sounds pretty epic as a whole. So you don't have to worry about that. But yes, I mean, there's just a few little optional features that you can get if you want. I mean, even the panoramic sunroof is actually standard, but some other things that you could get if you wanted to is a little AMG line that just dresses the car up a little bit from the exterior. Got your air control, filtration, HEPA filters and all that stuff if you want to get that. An executive rear seating option. An integrated toll system if you want that, which is interesting. I've never seen that in the vehicle. And like I mentioned, the rear wheel steer. You got some massage seating options as well. But again, let me wrap up here. You know, I'm sure you've heard all of these things before, but what is it that makes this car so special to me? It's going to be a proper, solid, well-built vehicle. Okay, the S-Class is really the only Mercedes product I've noticed that's actually built really well. It's built like a tank. Nothing creaks and rattles in that thing. This is going to waft you around in pure comfort, silence, you know, great range, and has every freaking feature that you can think of. The only things I don't like is the ridiculous screens. Shit, dude, I'll probably just turn them off completely if I'm going to be honest with you, if that's even possible. As long as it rides like the S-Classes that I'm used to, I'm going to have no issues with this vehicle. This would be a car that I'd be happy to lease out. That little 580 4MATIC, that would be a pretty epic car to own. It's really the only new car that I'm really interested in, and one of the only few flagship $100,000 vehicles that I actually think is worth that ridiculous price tag. Other than that, the other EVs I'm really looking forward to is what Lexus is going to come out with, either with their little crossover, their LQ, whatever they come out with. I'm looking forward to that as well. But as of right now, this seems to be the most legitimate option. The Taycans, little Audi E-Trons, yeah, they look cute, but they're tiny little vehicles with abysmal range. Tesla might have gotten their range up, but it's still built like a Nissan Versa, so I can't really get too excited about a Tesla anymore. This one I would happily blow the money. I would just have to see how all the technology kind of talks to each other and how, you know, if I can tolerate the screens or not. That's really the only other thing. Really, it's just this LC500 and the S-Class, baby. That's the only two cars I really care about. I still need to try out the latest A8 Audi, but again, it's a very soulless driving experience, but I'm still curious to see how it rides and how it feels. That car also has a ridiculous center screen thing going on. I've seen leases for the A8L hybrids going for around $820 a month. That seems to be the most worthwhile Audi to get so far in the lineup. In my opinion anyway, it's a flagship product from Audi, so it'd be interesting to see how their flagship EV is going to compare with this. The E-Tron is going to be like this little performance-based thing. You know, it looks cool for right now, but again, I like how this is a massive vehicle, the EQS. It's larger than the gasoline variant of the S-Class because it's got a flat battery pack, so the rear leg space is insane. You can really stretch out, and like I mentioned, the trunk is also massive as well. So it's just a nice, pragmatic vehicle. Again, hopefully Car and Driver is right. Hopefully it stays within that $96,000, $116,000 starting price range, and maybe with some incentives, the lease won't be too ridiculous, but we'll just have to see about that. But let me know your thoughts about the EQS. Is this something that you like? Can you get over the looks of this vehicle? Again, like I mentioned, I don't mind it, but some of you might actually hate it, and I can actually totally understand that. Let me know some other EVs that you're interested in. And with that, thank you again for watching. Take care, and goodbye.